The Antarctica situation is very strange because I don't know if you ever saw the Sean Ryan show where he talked to this guy that worked with the neutrino detector down there, and he was have you seen that?
I haven't seen Sean do it, but I know the guy.
And the guy was saying that it's not just a neutrino detector; it's a direct energy weapon that can cause earthquakes. And
this is like the DEWs. The U.S. has always been fascinated with
direct energy weapons.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where the HAARP conspiracies come from and all of that. And if you don't know what HAARP is, that's the High Altitude Auroral Research Project. It's just this array of antennas in Alaska that's built by the U.S. government to study the ionosphere. But for some reason, it cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And when you look at it, you're like, where'd the money go? It's like a building's a box and there's a bunch of antennas. Where I'm getting at is this is an array that can ionize parts of the atmosphere. So I did an episode on Project Bluebeam, which is a conspiracy about how the United Nations or the shadow government will create these holograms in the sky, and that will force a one-world government. We can get into it if you want to.
Yeah.
But I kind of debunk it saying holograms need a substrate. You need
clouds.
Glass is
Something.
really what you need. But then the technology has gotten to the point where you can ionize atmosphere and create things in the atmosphere. So something like HAARP conceivably could create something up there. Now,
Something visual.
Something visual. And I've heard people say that, the UAPs, UFOs may not be real. They could just be holograms for some reason.
I heard that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or a combination of many different things.
Yes.
I think there's probably a lot of different factors that people are seeing. I was watching a video the other day. I'm not sure if it's real, but I put it on my Instagram anyway, on my story because it was just fun, of ball lightning, which is real. But this ball lightning was moving around a parking lot, and it was extraordinary. Is this one? Yes.
The plasma lasers that the Navy apparently has the ability to make some stuff like this.
Yeah.
3D images in the air. And
yeah.
they can also make them make sound somehow too, which is an interesting...
Well, because you're just vibrating air molecules. So in Project Bluebeam, the energy comes from a satellite array. So can satellites do that yet? If it can, they won't tell us.
But that could be a way where you could throw off the enemy or freak people out and pretend that there's some sort of an alien invasion. It's really just a hologram.
Really just a hologram. And that's Bluebeam is supposed to get rid of religion because what will happen, according to the legend, is the holograms will manifest as whatever deity is dominant in the area, whether it's Jesus or Buddha, whomever. And atheists will see different things. And people will just freak out. Nationalism will go away.
Atheists will see different things. Like why?
Because, according to the legend, the array or with the technology will manipulate your mind. Again, HAARP has been accused of this because you can manipulate someone's mind with electromagnetic frequencies at the right frequencies. So they could just tell you to see something.
So like that specific?
That specific.
Allegedly.
Now, I debunk a lot of it because the story originally came from a Canadian journalist named Serge Manasse, fascinating figure. He comes out with this theory that's bonkers, and then the Canadian government takes his kids away because they're homeschooled. He gets harassed by authorities. He gets hauled off to jail for spreading disinformation, dies of a heart attack the next day. So then, of course, that's just like, pew, that lights the fuse. So now it's like, what did he find? So, and he talked very publicly about all of this. So that's supposedly how it happens, is they manipulate our minds, they show us what we want to see, and then it's not like we won't resist authority, we'll beg for it. We'll just beg to take our freedom, take our rights, keep us safe.
Whoa. Because something huge is happening and we need to consolidate.
I feel like that's what would happen.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the Hal Puthoff thing. Did you see when Hal Puthoff, George Bush, during his presidency, they floated the idea of disclosure. Did you ever see this?
I didn't see it, but I know how it's worked very well.
So what Hal said was he and several other scientists were brought aboard, and they were given a task of writing pros and cons to disclosure. What are the things that are going to be disrupted, and what are the things that's going to benefit society, and attach a numerical value to each thing. And all of the scientists at the end of the day showed that the numerical value for con was far higher. Like it was going to cause much more disruption than it would be beneficial, and so they decided not to disclose. But what they were telling Hal was this was what you were planning for was retrieved crafts not of this world and biological entities that the United States government is in possession of. Should we disclose this?
Right. I think I've definitely heard that. I don't know if is that connected to the Brookings report, if I'm getting that correct.
Which one's that?
I forget when it would even come out. Here's all the CYAs. I'm an expert on nothing. I don't know anything. I tell stories.
Me too.
Okay? How can you talk about Planet Serpo if you've never been? Look, I just like this. All due respect.
That's going to go on forever.
Yeah, forever.
You've never been.
Never been. I hope he's okay. Douglas Murray's a lot of fun.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, so I'm not an expert at anything. So I don't know when Brookings was, but it was the same thing. It was a recommendation from the government that, look...
That was in 1960.
1960.
Same thing?
Well, I don't know about the exact same thing, but...
same kind of thing?
Proposed studies of the implications of peaceful space activities for human affairs commissioned by NASA and created by the Brookings Institute. Collaboration, long-range study.
Same result. Don't do it.
Yeah. I think they're probably right, but also I want to know.
Well, that's puts us in a pickle, I think, is let's say it's real. I want to know too, but I don't want the Chinese to know, and I definitely don't want Iran to know. So I understand.
Why do you not want them to know? Well, maybe we could all get along if we realize that there's actual aliens that are visiting us. I mean, wasn't that the Ronald Reagan speech in front of the UN? You've seen that, right?
Sure.
Yeah, the famous speech.
But wasn't the SDI part of that speech? Is we'll all get along, but we're going to have laser weapons in space just in case we don't? Wasn't that same speech? It might not have been, but it was about that same time. And that was all smoke and mirrors.
Right, the Star Wars thing was fake, right?
Couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
It was all fake. So maybe we'll all get along. Boy, that sounds nice. But, Iran produces brilliant people, so intelligent, great engineers, doctors, all of that. But the government is bananas.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to have brilliant scientists working like that.
Right.
We had brilliant scientists working for dictators in the past, and it was not awesome.
Right.
So,
like the Nazis.
That's who I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
That's who I mean. So...
Yeah, it's really sketchy if they get the technology.
Right.
Well, this is what Hal Puthoff said. He said that the government of the United States has at least 10 of these things. And I said, well, other governments have them? And he said, yes. And I said, well, do they have similar numbers? He's like, we believe so. So they don't know. So essentially what he was kind of alluding to is that there's basically like a kind of Manhattan Project to try to back engineer these things. And whoever figures it out first is going to have a massive advantage.
Right.
And it would be nice if it was us.
It would be nice. Hal Puthoff has been connected to a lot of disinformation campaigns. I love the guy and his work, but he has been connected to disinformation campaigns with known disinformation.
Think about what subjects?
About disclosure. Like, you heard the name Richard Doty?
Yes.
Okay. So, he...
Want some coffee?
Yeah, let's have some coffee. I'm off booze right now.
Forever?
No, not
Cheers.
forever. Cheers. I just needed a break. It was becoming a little bit...
Me too.
Like a habit.